everyone, I'm going to talk about mental health. उर्दू में इसको दिमागी सेहत कहते हैं. And this is going to be really interesting क्योंकि ये कुछ series होंगी and which the ones that you can follow. Now, what is mental health? I'm trying to create an awareness ताकि लोगों में एक शऊर फैले, एक अंडरस्टैंडिंग फैले और वो समझें कि what is mental health, and gradually as we understand we will be able to work around and do what is needed. Now, what is mental health? So mental health is basically your social, your emotional and your psychological well-being. आसान लफ्ज़ों में उर्दू में हमारी समाजी, हमारी साइकोलॉजिकल स्टेट और हमारी इमोशनल यानी जज्बाती स्टेट किस मकाम पर है, उसकी वेलबींग किस मकाम पर है. Now, it is all about how a person thinks and then feels and obviously then acts. So there are three: think, feel and act. Obviously what we think is how we feel and how we feel is how we act. So understanding our mental health is very important. Now, mental health varies from person to person and it is different for everybody. Just like that, mental health is very important in childhood to adolescence and through adulthood. यानी बच्चों में, बड़ों में, बुजुर्गों में, हर किसी के लिए mental health बहुत important है. And it varies, it is different. And इसमें एक चीज़ बहुत अहम है कि हम किस तरह react करते हैं, हम किस तरह situations को handle कर पाते हैं. Which also means क्या हम healthy choices लेते हैं? What kind of choices are we making? So if you see somebody is making weird choices again and again, there is a definite reason. So instead of calling them कि ये बेवकूफ़ है, इसको कुछ नहीं पता, या इसका दिमाग नहीं है, या all those type of negative points, I would suggest understand their mental state or their mental health. So let's come to this very important question. Now, why am I doing this? Why am I making this video? Or why is mental health so important? आसान लफ्ज़ों में mental health इसलिए important है कि ये हमारी जहनी जो दिमाग हमारा जो सलाहियत है ये हमारी ओवरऑल चीज़ पे असर रखता है. So it has an effect on our physical health. Let's talk and think that when was the last time you got yourself checked on how you're doing on your mental health? I mean, I'm sure you must have gone to get your blood pressure checked, you must have gone to get your diabetes checked, or your weight gain and weight drop, or whatever. But did you actually analyze if you're doing well mentally? Obviously, I know I'm not expecting a yes from everyone. It's very easy to ignore because we don't see it. So when we see a wound on our hand and it's bleeding, I know my hand is hurt. But a lot of people do not understand if your hand can hurt from inside and a wound does not need to be shown. So, like, why is it important now? Is because if you are not mentally healthy, then you will start developing ailments or diseases in your body that will lead to some sort of physical issue. So a person with depression can probably have a heart disease or can even have a stroke. And that has been calculated and has been analyzed. Vice versa, the same way, a person who is physically not well can develop a mental issue. So what are the things that affect the mental health? It's very simple. It all depends on your habits. So for example, if you have some good habits, well, you're going to do well physically and emotionally and socially and mentally. But what if you've got a habit of drinking, smoking, not exercising enough? Yes, that's definitely going to affect your mental health. So that's one of the factors. The other factors are that your mental health gets affected if you have had a childhood trauma or a trauma at some point in your life. And what you've experienced, you could have experienced violence, you could have experienced some kind of abuse, or even if you have witnessed any. Now, let me tell you, there are about 200 more types of mental illnesses. That there's a huge list of it. So anybody could have any kind, is all that we need to understand. One of the other things is that how does a person cope with it? If a person is resourceful, if a person has the skills, has learned the skills over the time, over a period of time, will be able to deal with mental issues if it occurs at some point. And it also will help them understand. So people will experience different kind of stresses, they will experience different kind of traumas at different points, but it's their skills and resources that will help them recover. Some of the causes, like I've said, poor habits, really poor bad habits like not exercising, drinking, smoking, abuse, even like not being enough mobile to move can affect. It could also be biological because if it could have been passed on or the state of mind. The other thing is if some kind of injuries happen and that has led you to a different state, this is something that we need to understand can be looked into the children. One of the things that you might be surprised, or you might know, that isolating someone or isolation is another reason that people develop mental issues, mental health issues. So I've just explained to you what are the causes, how does it happen, and what could be the reasons like people develop over the time. And strange. Okay, thank you. In Pakistan, as per World Health Organization, they say this year they have identified 45.5 million people with mental health issues, depression, anxiety disorders, schizophrenia, and all sorts. And it is quite alarming. It's a huge number. When you have mental health issues, it's important that you have enough people to help you. Just like how many doctors do we need for people with physical ailments, do we have enough people who help you with mental health issues? I'll wait for your comments.